Welcome all, my dear friends. Let us enter into another significant arena of the world of patents, that is known as patent drafting. So, after having a lots of discussions on the most significant sections, rules, and forms of the Patents Act 1970 and the Patents Rules 2003, respectively, let us enter into this beautiful and most important arena of the world of patents. Okay, so let us continue with patent drafting. Fine. So, patent drafting or otherwise we can say patent specification writing. Okay, and today I have taken the topic patent specification. Okay, so let us proceed with this. Now, a beautiful thought, friends. Just listen it carefully. Grasp the essence from the seed and let it drip from your fingertips. I'm again reading it, friends. Grasp the essence from the seed and let it drip from your fingertips. And that's called drafting. I hope it is clear. Fine. That means I have tried to explain you this term drafting in a literal way with showing some beautiful clips. Fine. I hope you get it. Okay. So let us proceed. Now we will have a comparison because whenever we say what is a draft, normally we go to its literal meaning. Fine. So first of all, we will go to the literal meaning of a draft. Fine. Okay. We can say that a draft is a preliminary version of a piece of writing. Fine. Or it is or we can say a draft is a written order to pay a specified sum. Fine. So this is the normal and literal meaning of draft. Now we will go towards what is a patent draft. Fine. Because this is the demand of our legal world or the world of patents. Fine. Okay. Let us see. A patent draft is a technical document presented in a legal format that has two primary functions. Fine. Number one is to establish novelty, and point number two is to establish inventive step or non-obviousness of an invention. Fine. Also, we can note it that patent drafting is the process of writing the patent description and claims. Fine. When the patent is issued, the draft is the specification part of the document. So, whenever you will try to understand the meaning of this statement that I have written in the note part, then your confusions will be clarified. Fine. So, just remember, patent drafting is the process of writing the patent description and claims. Fine. And when the patent is issued, the draft is the specification part of the document. Fine. So, the comparison has been done. Let us proceed. So, friends, let us continue with another content from the complete specification. Fine. And today's topic is, or today's content that we have taken is detailed description of invention. Fine. Okay. So, let us proceed. It contains enough detail in order to provide a complete picture of the invention. Okay, that means whenever you go through this section, you can get a complete picture of the invention. Fine. Next point. It should be composed in such a manner so that the individual who has an ordinary aptitude in the art can do the creation without making extraordinary endeavors. Okay, that means If a person with ordinary aptitude in the particular art, or he is ordinarily skilled for this art, then he can do the creation without making any extra efforts. Okay. Next point. Irrespective of whether the application is accompanied by either provisional or complete specification, description of invention must accompany. Fine. Whether the application is accompanied by a provisional application or a complete application, but description, that means this detailed description section, it should be accompanied. Fine. Okay, the next point is it should start on the different page. Okay, so let us proceed, friends. So we can say that here detailed description of detailed description of invention part is continued. Okay, the point is the detailed description can start with an overview of the invention and can clarify improvements and modifications of the invention over the prior art. Fine. The next point is, in case the inventor finds out a better way of carrying out the invention after filing, it is generally not compulsory to add the new mode to the patent specification unless the examiner explicitly asks for it. Okay, that means the best mode the applicant should clarify at the timing of filing is for his intellect. If later he finds some new better way, then it is not compulsory to add the same. But if the controller wants so, then he can add. Fine. The next point. Furthermore, in case a patent specification includes several modes of carrying out an invention, some of which are more preferred than the others, we can say literally. Okay, the patent specification does not need to indicate which mode the inventor considers to be the best mode. Okay, the next point. Each invention can have multiple embodiments that describe one or more structures possible for the invention. For example, we can say that for a compressed algorithm in a computer network system, in one embodiment, the compressed data can be passed through a connection-oriented protocol such as TCP. What is TCP? Where TCP is transmission control protocol and UDP is user datagram protocol. Fine. Okay, let us proceed. We will continue this section with some important points. Okay. So the first point is complete specification and not the provisional specification. Okay. So we can read like this. Complete specification needs to fully and particularly describe the invention and its operation or use and the method by which it is to be performed. Okay. That means for complete specification it is compulsory. Okay, to fully and particularly describe the invention. Okay, the next point. The detailed description part should disclose the best method of performing the invention which is known to the applicant and for which he is entitled to claim protection. That means this best method should does not have a literal meaning. That means best for all. No, the best method is known to the applicant at the time of filing. Just remember this. Okay. The next point is the best mode requirement does not require applicants to disclose absolutely the way of carrying out an invention, but surely requires key aspects not to be kept secret. Okay, that means an absolute disclosure is not needed here. For example, for best mode requirement in a chemical reaction involving heating at specific temperature, it may not be required to disclose the exact degree of temperature. However, a narrow range for the exact temperature must be disclosed. That means if the exact degree of temperature is 10 degrees centigrade, then we can give a narrow range for example, 8 to 12, 8 degree to 12 degree centigrade within that. But we are not disclosing the exact temperature, that is 10 degrees centigrade. Okay, this is just an example. Fine. Okay, the same thing is continued here. That means important points are continued. Okay, so let us have a look. An implementation depicts multiple features of an invention and how various elements of that feature combine together to show the desired effect. Okay. Next, we can say, in cases where an invention has multiple implementations of carrying out the single inventive concept, it is beneficial to incorporate and describe all possible implementations to broaden the scope of the invention. That means the objective should be to broaden the scope of the invention. Also, you can note that each implementation should point out the same inventive concept. Okay, that means though all the possible implementations are need to be described, but each implementation should point out the same inventive concept. Okay, objective should be same for all. Okay. The next point, the invention should also fulfill the criterion of enablement, wherein the invention is described to the extent necessary to be enabling and with sufficient detail as to satisfy the written description requirement. Okay. The next point is the detailed description should not contain unnecessary terms and language that may be interpreted to limit the scope of invention. It may happen, friends, that when we are using some terms and some language that knowingly or unknowingly it may limit the scope of the invention. For example, terms such as best, comma special, comma suitable, etc. should not be used. They should be avoided. Okay. The next point. Also, statements that describe the invention as a whole rather than one embodiment at a time are more likely to limit the scope of protection. For this thing, friends, embodiments are more encouraged. Okay. Okay. The slide with important points is continued. Okay. The point is, a specification in respect of a divisional application must contain specific reference to the number of the original application from which the divisional application is made. Okay, fine. So you can just remember the divisional application section where I have discussed the uh, details of divisional application. You can just refer that uh, video lecture. Actually, this is section 16, 1.6. Fine. Okay. The next thing is a specification in respect of a patent of edition must contain a specific reference to the number of the main patent or the application for the main patent, as the case may be, and a definite statement that the invention comprises an improvement in or a modification of the invention claimed in the specification of the main patent granted or applied for. Okay, so this is regarding patent of edition. So please, you can also please refer to the video lecture where I have discussed in detail about the patent of edition, that is section 54. Okay. The next point is description should not contain any irrelevant or other matter not necessary for the elucidation of the invention. Okay, that means only relevant terms and relevant matter should be present. Fine. Okay. Now, regarding biological materials, okay, just take a look. The application shall be completed by depositing the biological material to an international depository authority under the Budapest Treaty. Just remember this, okay, and by fulfilling the following conditions, namely, condition A, we can say, the deposit of the material shall be made not later than the date of filing the patent application in India, and a reference thereof shall be made in the specification within 3 months from the date of filing of the application. So remember this time periods. Okay. The next clause is, we can say clause B, or the next condition is the clause Condition B, all the available characteristics of the material required for it to be correctly identified or indicated are included in the specification, including the name, address of the depository institution, and the date and number of the deposit of the material at the institution. Just remember these things. And condition C is disclose the source and geographical origin of the biological material in the specification when used in an invention. That means source and geographical origin are the compulsory things to be disclosed. Okay. Now, some key practices to be followed while writing the detailed description part or detailed description section for a complete specification. Okay, so let us proceed. A. Write the overview as a brief description of the main embodiment of the invention. Okay. Then B. Completely explain one element before moving on to a new or any other element in the description section. This helps to maintain readability. Okay. The next point, C. Write the detailed description section as for other sections in clear and plain English. Okay. No section other than claims should use any language, any legal language, and should be easy to interpret and understand. Okay. So, mark the exceptional case here. The next point, D. Use short and simple sentences. Short and plain sentences are preferred over long run or compound sentences. Okay. The next point, or E. Avoid writing any statement that may later be interpreted to have a negative connotation. Okay. Avoid such things. The next point, or F. Also terms such as always, simultaneously, essentially should be avoided. Next point, G. Maintain correct numbering of paragraphs. The paragraphs should be short and logically sequenced. Okay. Support each term and technical jargon by broad-based definitions. Each term should clearly bring out the necessity of the terminology used and why it is needed while protecting the invention. Fine. The next point, or H. Use each term and technical jargon consistently throughout the specification. Okay. The next point, or I. Terminologies that are not well known in the art should, whenever being introduced, should be clearly defined. Okay. That means the terminologies which are not well known, they should be clearly defined. Okay. Okay, this is also continued. Key practices to be followed. So we can take some more points. Point number 1. Broadening language should be used consistently across the description. However, it needs to be understood that the usage of broadening language does not implicitly cover alternative embodiments. Point number 2. Disclose the best mode of carrying out the invention in the description. The best mode is the most effective way which the inventor knows at the time of filing the patent application or practicing the invention. Okay. Point number 3. Verify that the application contains adequate details for one with ordinary skill in the technology to make and use the invention through the disclosed mode. Okay. Actually, we have discussed many times about these points. This is given here only to just a second, only to set in your mind. Okay, for example, we can say for point number 3, for chemical and pharmaceutical applications, this verification can focus on any noble constituents and synthetic processes. Fine. Next, some do's and don'ts for this particular section, that is detailed description. Okay, so follow strict antecedent basis. For example, a system XYZ for the first time, the system XYZ for the usage. Next, don't use wherein, comprises, consist, comprising, okay. That means don't use wherein, compromises, consist, compromising, etc. Okay. Instead, use include. Okay, that means you can use include. Next point is give examples. Next point is use consistent numbering. For example, system 100, 102, 104 dot dot dot, or 100, 105, 110 dot dot dot, etc. etc. For figure 1 explanation and system 200, 202, 204 or 200, like this series is for figure 2 explanation and the like. That means in this way you can explain. Okay. Next point, don't use passive voice. Don't use passive voice. That means you cannot say like this. For example, I am telling you, Ram is reading a book. This is a active. This is an active voice. But when we write that this book is being read by Ram, so this is a passive voice. So this type of sentences should not be used. Okay. Don't use pronouns. Pronouns already I have discussed. So don't use pronouns. Then don't use long sentences except for examples. Only for examples you can use long sentences. Otherwise don't do. Okay. Uh, Next point is explain each and every detail of the invention in the specifications. Okay. And next point is strictly implement claims. Okay. Now the most awaited slide of this video lecture. Okay. So there are some questions for you. Question number 1. The following two institutes have acquired the status of International Depository Authority, that is IDA, under the Budapest Treaty in India. Okay. So point number 1 is international, point number 1, or we can say institute number 1. Fine. Institution number 1. Okay. International Depository Authority, Microbial Culture Collection MCC, National Center for Cell Science NCCS, University of Pune Campus, Ganesh Khind, Pune 411007, Maharashtra. This is the proper address. Okay. Institution number 2, International Depository Authority, Microbial Type Culture Collection and Gene Bank, MTCC, Institute of Microbial Technology, IMTECH, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, Sector 39A, Chandigarh. Now, the question is whether whatever I read just now is true or false. You have to answer that. Okay. Question number 2. A preferred embodiment is a physical structure of the invention and refers to how various elements of the invention connect with each other to perform the desired job. Fine, I'm again reading it. A preferred embodiment is a physical structure of the invention and refers to how various elements of the invention connect with each other to perform the desired job. The answer is, the question is whether this statement is true or false. You have to answer this. Fine. So, friends, please go through each and every slide of this video lecture. Okay, and detailed description section of the complete specification. I think this is the most important because this gives a complete picture of the invention. So please go through it properly and try to answer these questions. And if you are satisfied with this video lecture, please give your compliments. If not, please give your comments. And if you have any type of queries regarding this, please write them down in my comment box. Okay, friends, happy learning. So, friends, enrich your brain cell with proper food and proper knowledge. So, thank you all, my dear friends, for listening to me and watching my video. Please like, share, and subscribe my channel. Please keep questioning. Please keep learning and keep enjoying. Thank you so much. God bless you. Jai Hind.